This is the STRATCOM Info Summary for the last week. In July alone, Russian forces launched over 3,800 Shahed-type UAVs, nearly 260 missiles, half of them ballistic, and more than 5,100 guided aerial bombs against Ukraine. This was reported by the President of Ukraine. This can only be stopped together with the United States and Europe, the President emphasizes. He stressed the need for stronger sanctions that would make such airstrikes by the enemy impossible. In the coming days, Germany will deliver 2 additional Patriot air defense launchers to Ukraine, according to the press service of the German Ministry of Defense. Other system components will be delivered in 2 or 3 months. It was also agreed that Germany will accelerate the purchase of new Patriot systems from the United States. As of now, the German government has already provided Ukraine with 3 Patriot air defense systems. Russian personnel losses in July exceeded 33,000. This was reported by General Alexander Syrsky, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Ukrainian warriors continue to destroy the enemy, bringing a just peace for Ukraine closer, the Commander-in-Chief posted on social media. He also published video footage showing strikes on Russian assault troops and motorbike riders in various frontline sectors. General Syrsky thanked all defenders for their professional and courageous combat work. Units of the Defense Forces of Ukraine liberated the village of Kindrativka in Sumy region from Russian occupation. According to the report, the village of Kindrativka in Sumy region was liberated by military units and subunits of the Defense Forces of Ukraine, part of the Kursk operational grouping, as well as other forces under senior command. Stabilization measures are ongoing in the liberated area. The main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine reported that on the night of 26th of July, a Su-27UB combat trainer aircraft of the Russian Armed Forces was destroyed at the Armavir Air Base in Krasnodar Krai. According to Ukrainian military intelligence, resistance to the Kremlin regime inside Russia is growing. Every crime against the Ukrainian people will be met with proper retaliation. Ukraine is initiating suspension of its participation in the Treaty on Conventional Armed Forces in Europe. This was announced by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine following a meeting of the heads of foreign diplomatic missions. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs noted that the suspension is a logical continuation of Ukraine's withdrawal from the Ottawa Convention. In addition, in July 2025, Ukraine decided to withdraw from the Convention on the prohibition of the use, stockpiling, production and transfer of anti-personnel mines and on their destruction. These steps aim to remove legal restrictions and strengthen Ukraine's defense capabilities. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Alexander Syrsky, held a monthly meeting on training. The duration of the basic general military training course is now 51 days. Additional time has been allocated for training in countering strike drones, firearms, engineering, and survival in trench conditions. The adaptation and further training program for personnel arriving at military units from training centers has also been updated. On the same day, participants of the meeting, chaired by Chief of the General Staff, Major General Andriy Ignatov, discussed the deployment and expansion of interceptor drone units to counter Russian strike UAVs. It was separately noted that the introduction of new electronic warfare systems has improved the detection of enemy drones. In the Black Sea, the Ukrainian Navy has reinforced its forces with mine countermeasure ships and boats. The goal is to prevent Russian attempts to remotely mine sea roads, which threaten civilian navigation. Earlier this week, the government approved a decision to expand enlistment options for volunteers aged 18 to 24 who wish to join the defense forces. Now, operators of drones and specialists in ground robotic systems can sign contracts for military service in the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the National Guard, and the State Border Guard Service. According to the Minister of Defense, the service term will be 2 years. The President of Ukraine signed a law on contract military service for individuals who have reached the maximum age of military service. Ukrainian citizens aged 60 and over who are medically fit may now sign a 1-year contract for military service, with the possibility of extension. Operators of the 413th Raid Battalion of the Unmanned Systems Forces destroyed a Russian Buk M1 SAM system. The video was published by the Command of the Unmanned System Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The enemy equipment was located among the ruins of an industrial site. On the same day, operators of the Ronin unit of the Unmanned Systems Battalion of the 65th Mechanized Brigade Veliky Lug reported the destruction of the Buk M3 SAM system. Soldiers of the Shadow unit of the 59th Assault Brigade, named after Yakov Handzuk, Unmanned System Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, destroyed an OSA SAM system. We Will Prevail, produced by the Main Communications Directorate of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.